For those of you that know me or follow me on my YouTube channel will know that I'm a big fan of the adventure biking lifestyle. Currently owning a 2003 Ducati Multistrada, and my current go-to bike mule is the BMW 1250 Adventure that I have. I mean, I love that bike, travel around the country with it, but on my most recent BTK tours and that, I've seen this BMW XR grow in popularity. And to me, that's an interesting concept because the motor is based off the S1000, which is a superbike, sport bike performance motor. If you look at the bike stance, it is a very sporty adventure looking bike, or else a tourer. So in this episode, I went to BMW East Rand, grabbed myself one of these, and I'm going to ride it and review it and see what it's all about. How versatile is it? And who knows, maybe it's 3-in-1 motorcycle. And maybe this would be my next motorcycle, who knows? So here in front of me is the BMW S1000 XR. Absolutely stunning looking bike. If you look at it from the side, it does have a little bit of the adventure bike look. It also has a comfortable touring look because of that high tank, the low seat, the higher handlebars, looks very comfortable. But if you go to the front, it has a very aggressive, mean look as well. So a combination adventure tourer slash sports bike. Has a motor, the S1000 motor, so the superbike sport bike motor in it. It has the adventure look, not the ground clearance of the bigger GS 1250s or GS 1300s now, but all round you can definitely see adventure bike, you can see touring bike, and the mechanicals come off the sport bike super bikes. So the BMW XR was first introduced in 2015. It is an off-road motorcycle. These XRs are made in Germany, and that's the perfect blend between a bike with long distance capabilities with high performance adrenaline sport bike capabilities. So very exciting motorcycle. I'm going to go through the specs very quickly and briefly because I think the fun on this motorcycle is in the riding, but it looks sporty, it looks great. I really like it, and it is becoming more and more popular here as well. So as mentioned earlier, this engine comes from the S1000. You have it in the double R and the naked, the S1000R. The S stands for a horizontally inline 4-cylinder. Like I mentioned in previous episodes, BMW has the F for a parallel twin, it has G for singles, R for the boxer motor layout, and the S is for the horizontal inline 4-cylinder. So this, based off the S1000RR and S1000R, it is horizontally inline 4-cylinder, 4-stroke liquid cooled, 16 valves, 4 valves per cylinder, double overhead cam, and liquid cooled. You can see the radiator up front in here, tucked in nicely over here, 999cc. Now slightly detuned obviously from the 200 plus horsepower S1000RR. This puts out 165 horsepower, which equates to about 120 kilowatt at 11,000 RPM. 114 Newton meter at 9,250 RPM, which you can see is a stonking motor for a tourer adventure bike. 6-speed final drive chain, oil bath multiplate slipper clutch on it. The frame, as you can see here, is the aluminium composite breech frame. Looking at the suspension up front, you have the upside down 45mm electronic self-adjusting Marzocchi's 150mm travel in front. At the rear you have the dual swing arm with a monoshock in here, aluminium dual swing arm, and this is 150mm travel as well. So 150mm travel front and rear. The wheels, front and rear, 17-inch cast aluminium wheels, quite a nice little design on it, shod with a 120 and a 190 at the back. When it comes to the brakes up front, you see you've got proper dual discs up front, two 320mm disc, 4-piston fixed ABS calipers. At the back you've got a single disc, very traditional 265mm, twin piston calipers, floating ABS as well. You see the ABS ring over here. Seat height is adjustable. You can go between 790 and 850 millimeters. The fuel capacity on this bike is a really nice 20-litre tank with a 4-litre reserve, and the wet weight of this bike, all up obviously without panniers, would be 226 kilograms. When you talk about a BMW and electronic suite, you know everything's thrown at it. If you have a look at these controls, it is traditional BMW. All of these controls, if you've ridden one of them, you've ridden them all. You're very comfortable and immediately at home. If you look at this dash, your traditional TFT 6.5-inch with the XR graphic coming in it, very animated, full color, looks great. And this bike has everything: rider modes, even your ABS is linked to the race mode. You have the dynamic traction control, ESA engine brake control. You have the gear shift assist pro, which is your quick shifter up and down. You've got cruise control, full LED comfort turn signals, your USB charging points, GPS prepared and TPM tire pressure monitors, and the list goes on. I mean, really, whatever you want is on this motorcycle. It is a proper piece of kit when it comes to technology. It's got the exciting performance motor here, if you want to call it. It can do a little bit of off-road. You even got the center stand, everything standard on this bike. What's on here, the panniers are non-standard, but other than that, really aggressive looking motorcycle. Your screen up front you can lower and raise, if you see here. So I'm really excited for going for that ride. Join me for the ride and let me give you my verdict where I would put this bike, and who knows, maybe it is my next go-to bike in my collection. What I'm going to do to start off is go up onto the highway and enjoy this motor a little bit. The vibrations on this bike is very minimal. If you have a look, feet are flat on the floor, knees are nicely bent. Here at the waist, the tank is narrow, comfortable motorcycle, handlebars are nice and high. I'm sitting in the bike. Whoa! Here you can see nice pull, quick shifter, works properly. What else do you expect from a BMW? Stunning motorcycle, controls, handles really well. Immediately comfortable on the bike. It hides its weight. It's not heavy picking it up off the side stand. Handlebars are wide for good control, but not too wide for lane splitting. It's not cumbersome. It's not a bike that you have to muscle around. It's a great little package. Cockpit is clear. It feels good. I feel at home, I feel comfortable. You will have no fatigue on this motorcycle. Not in the wrists, forearms, neither in the lower back. If I just stop here, I've noticed with neutral I sometimes struggle, but if you have a look, feet are flat, knees nicely bent, foot is flat, knees nicely bent. The waist here on the tank is nice and slim, big looking tank, it looks bulky. Cockpit looks good, nice big dash. The TFT is 6.5-inch. You don't have to lean forward. You got all the colors. You see everything quite easily at one glance. This screen lowers and raises. So everything is thought of. You're sitting nice and low in the bike. So I think the standard screen is fine. Quick shifter, very smooth. Very, very smooth. I felt it at lower speeds, sometimes does get a little bit on the notchy side, but if I use the clutch also, it has a nice feel. It's not hard, no pump in the arm, but you really only need it when you're standing at a traffic light. There we go, 6th gear, good performance. If you tuck in, wow, illegal speeds very quickly. You can definitely feel it's detuned from the S1000 RR. Not quite that real hooliganism power. It's more like the naked version, but I think even there the torque, the line is smooth. It's not frightening power in any way. It's controllable. Yes, it does climb. Yes, it doesn't stop linear. There's no dips. There's good torque here. Definitely not as much torque as you would feel on a Boxer, but hardly any vibration. It's a smooth running motorcycle. It hides its weight well. It's so nimble, and the handlebars are actually elbow height, and the width is perfect. It tracks nicely. With your body weight you can lean it and take the corners. So from ergonomics, I must say, immediately I'm comfortable on this bike, and I really like it. The bike is finished off nicely. There's nothing exposed. When you look into this dash, you don't see any open cabling. It's got nice covers and panels like BMW would do. Here covers, here's your port. So your navigation up here, as I have on my GS, and as mentioned, lowering and raising that screen you can do on the fly. All your controls with that wheel, your cruise control, it is very familiar. And if you've never ridden a BMW, very intuitive, tactile as well. Even with big gloves like this, big fingers, you can grab all these buttons, the menu buttons, the animation, the colors. If I scroll through, you can see all the details. Everything's green. Immediately one quick glance and you can see everything is healthy with this motorcycle. The animation is super cool. It is one of the best TFT, in my opinion, in the business, because it also doesn't pick up any reflections. It is sort of a matte, not a glossy screen. Works well. If you have a look, I'm looking at the dash, which I shouldn't be doing in traffic and lane splitting simultaneously. This could be a perfect commuter. I haven't spent too much time on this motorcycle, but you can see you can weave and flick it. Spirited driving, no problem. The quick shifter, simple up and down. Everything on this bike, it warns you should your tires go down. You can change the rider mode. I'm in Dynamic Pro at the moment. Mode, I can just flick through rain mode, road mode, and here I'm in road mode. Very simple, throttle on, throttle off, and you push one button here, that mode button. Can grab it with my thumb while riding. Good stoppers. As you can see, if you grab a handful, this thing really goes down. The suspension is perfect for commuting. The seat is extremely comfortable. It is a firm seat. It's not as soft as a touring bike or adventure bike, but it's also not quite as hard as a superbike. So I think that's one of the favorites on this bike, is that the whole seating position, ergonomics of this bike talks to me. Very, very comfortable motorcycle. Even when I accelerate like this and get pushed back in the seat, there is a little flick in that seat which holds me from sliding further back, but my arms are very, very relaxed. I'm sitting perfectly upright. If I put my arms forward or take my arms back, you see there's no movement on my upper body. Performance is there. You have everything in one. You can, I think, pretty much take this around a racetrack as well. Take the panniers off and give it some, and you would have a fantastic time. I don't think I would have a problem getting the knees on the ground, slide the knee sliders, and you have the right motor for it. I have noticed on the odd pull-off here or there, I just have to grab the clutch again, because I'm used to the Boxer motor has a little bit more torque on pull-off, or else I'm not revving it enough. In this position, doing just about 100 kilometers an hour, it is actually very quiet. The wind protection in the upper position on the screen is perfect for me, and that's my 6-foot frame. It is overall the complete package. I could see myself doing a BTK tour, spending a couple of 100 kilometers and a couple of hours in the saddle on this particular bike. I can definitely see why it's become so popular with my fellow riders on the BTK. It is a sporty GS, if you want to call it. If you're doing hardcore off-road, no, this bike does not have the competent off-road suspension as per the more hardcore GS, but for basic off the beaten track gravel roads, fantastic. I've played with it a little bit, I've pushed it a little bit harder, and yes, it does bottom out, or the ground clearance of the exhaust collector box at the bottom is what bottoms out first. Here we go, a little bit of a sporty pull-off. So as you can see, this would be speeding fine territory. This could put you in a bit of trouble. Spirited riding, commuting, touring, definitely 3 in 1. You could take this around a racetrack. The ground clearance, the foot pegs high enough to scrape the knees. If you have a look, my legs fit nicely under this tank's ridge, and you have a sporty footrest position. So if you move your feet forward and hook it on your heel, it is fairly relaxed. If you want to go even more sporty, you pull your feet back and put your ball of your foot on the peg, and it's, I must say, very comfortable, feels great, feels sporty. If I put my balls of my feet on the foot peg, I really want to throw it around and go into that aggressive riding style. At lower revs like this, I have noticed the quick shifter could be a little bit notchy, but as you rev it up like this, it just gets smoother and smoother. It is it's a complete package. The brakes are good, the power is good. The power could even be more for something this good looking. And that S1000, we all know it can put out, this motor can put out 200 horsepower. So very, very competent motor, and sometimes we want a little bit more, but then again, for commuting, that would be too much. So this blend of horsepower, torque, as you can see, the shift cam motor, very docile, manageable at lower RPMs. If you self-controlled, it is a perfect commuter. The width of this bike, it doesn't have the boxer motor standing out. My Adventure even has the cage around the outside. It's a slim bike, widest part being the handlebars. The rear view mirrors, they look over my shoulders. All I see is the BMW badge on my shoulder, but from here everything is clear, good visibility. So whether I use the clutch to change gears or the quick shifter, feels great. The handling on this bike is superb, pinpoint accuracy, it holds, it tracks, it's stunning. It really gives you the confidence that this could be ridden on the track quite hard. The position is what I'm the biggest fan. I think the ergonomics of this bike is what sells me on it. I am so comfortable on this bike, it's like it was designed for me. On the open road, as you can see here now, speed limit 120, I'm at 120. Let's flick the cruise control in, move it over to the right and set it. I'm set at 122. Hands are off the handlebars. I shouldn't promote this, but I'm just showing you how steady this bike is. It tracks nicely, it's comfortable, vibrations are absolutely minimal, nothing is loose and flapping. You can set this on the fly up, gets a bit noisier like this. If I move it up, you can hear it is quieter. It is brilliant. I love the way it's just cleaned up in front. It looks minimalistic. It would actually look better without this even. Visibility is great. Mirrors. You could sit in the saddle on this thing for a good couple of hours. If I just dab the brakes, you can see disengage the cruise control and off we go. If I want to resume, I can pull it towards me. If I want to set a new speed, push it away from me. Fantastic package. If I were to fault it anywhere, maybe it doesn't quite have that adrenaline factor that I thought it would have. Maybe it's just because 2 weeks ago I just tested the BMW M S1000. That's next level, but it is a practical all-purpose bike. If you don't have the money or the space in your garage to have 3 motorcycles, what I mean with that, a day-to-day commuter, a touring bike for you and the wife to go on a long tour, or an adventure bike to do a little bit of adventure riding off the beaten track. If you don't have the space or the money for that, this is a bike that could do it all for you. Take the panniers off, take it to the racetrack. You have that S1000 motor and you could really do some spirited and aggressive riding. Fantastic for that. Now if you want to tour with a wife, slap the panniers on. I am super comfortable. I hook in the cruise control like this and it's all done. I'm perfect, I'm comfortable, I'm happy, and it's just brilliant package. I can sit here, go for hours, and comfortable neutral riding position, not get fatigued. If you want to go off the beaten track, which I've done, gravel roads on this bike, you can actually go and stand up on it. It's not too crazy and be comfortable. The handlebars do come up high enough. You can stand up on this motorcycle and feel very comfortable. So it is 3 bikes in one. If I stand up now, I'll show you just getting in line with the traffic. Yeah, I'm standing. If I look down, comfortable. I'm not leaning forward. I hook my thighs in onto the petrol tank and I'm just stretching out the back if I've been sitting for 2 hours, and very, very comfortable cruising along. And as you can see, I just hooked my thighs in over here and it was extremely comfortable. Now going off the highway, I'm going to look for a little bit of traffic lane splitting to show you how practical this motorcycle is when it comes to day-to-day commuting. Here the quick shifter at lower speed worked really well. It's docile. That shift cam motor, I love it. That was one of the best things BMW came up with, and they must stick with it. It's brilliant because it's such a docile motor at lower RPMs, very maneuverable, manageable, non-intimidating. The power is linear, so even when that cam shifts to the more aggressive profile, you don't feel it. You just realize the power is building harder and harder. So it is a brilliant motor, brilliant design, and very, very good feel on the clutch, on the bite, and you get used to it very quickly. As mentioned before, one of the minus points, I struggle sometimes to get neutral, but you do work it out, get the feel of it. And gearbox, very positive. You know you got the next gear. I haven't missed any yet. Here you see the pull-off, nice, docile, comfortable. Here at 3000, quick shifter. 3000 there, you felt a little bit notchy, but as you accelerate, it gets smoother and smoother. You don't even know I'm changing gears, I'm already in 5th gear. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode with me of the BMW S1000 XR. A stunning, versatile, all-round bike. It is a bike that will give you spirited riding. You can throw it around the racetrack for all day, every day commuting. Practicality, it gets 10 out of 10. Adventure bike, yes, maybe an 8 out of 10. As a tourer, also a 10 out of 10. It is a brilliant motorcycle. I love it. Definitely something for me to look into when it comes to one go-to bike, as a mule as I call it, the bike that does everything for you, rain, sunshine, hail, dirt, mud. This is the bike. I hope you enjoyed this little episode with me, the ride and review of the BMW S1000 XR. If you did, guys, please remember, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, and most important of all, please guys, hit that subscribe button to help me build the channel, and if you like, the reminder bell so you always know when I'm uploading something new.